Chapter 28, 3 Conversations. I don't know why it's called this. Like, I must have missed that. Anyway, Carlisle paged Dr. Sadarangani to get Bella started on transfusions. Ed still wasn't calm as Carlisle and Sadarangani worked on Bella, and Sadarangani sucked Carlisle's cock to his co-workers and thinks since he hasn't changed in 14 years, he had plastic surgery, and then begged him to take on some of his patients. Like, there must be some sort of violations here, because Carlisle does not work at this hospital. I mean, I know sometimes doctors will come in from other places to work on patients, but this guy's oh yeah, this guy is great. I knew him 15 years ago. He's awesome. Totally a great doctor. Here's some of my patients. Just go ahead and work on them. Dude, if I was in charge of this hospital, I'd fire you. Sadarangani called Charlie and Bella's condition. Her scent changed from the blood transfusions, and Ed resents it. She's still alive. Take your dick out of your ass. And now they only had to wait. Carlisle calls Charlie in Bella's room to tell him Bella's going to be okay, and tells him to say a story that Edward told Bella he cares about her. She got upset. Charlie thinks it was an overreaction. Yeah, I think it, yeah. And thinks the relationship is a little too intense. Yes, it is too intense. They're severely, codependent. It is disturbing. Get your daughter some help, dude. Seriously. You won't like it in the you won't like it in the second book, and you'll give up by the third book. Carlisle says it's love and apologizes if they didn't come. Bella wouldn't have fallen. Charlie is happy she's safe and can't come because he has to testify in court, and warns Carlisle Renee is coming. She arrives around midnight, and Edward cleans himself up and then goes back to brooding. At least you admit you do it. He hears Renee's panic thoughts, then hears her yelling, and Ed compares her to Bella's. The orderlies and nurses are anxious to help her. Her thoughts are so loud. Edward imagines her as a vampire, able to project her thoughts. She's taken to Bella's room, and Edward thinks her blood is sweet. The nurses dote on Renee, and Edward notices. She projects her thoughts. And I quote, and realizes what Bella's life was like with Renee. And I quote, no wonder she had been so protective, so nurturing. No wonder she'd given up her childhood to take care of this woman. Charlie should have fought for custody. Edward announces his presence, and she thinks she thinks he's a doctor. He's 17. What 17-year-old is a doctor? Even if he was, I'd rather trust Doogie Howser. He lies that the doctor told him to keep watch, and that the nurses believe him. The nurse introduces them, and he gives Renee the chair, and they talk. Renee thinks she messed Bella up. You're damn right you did. Edward says Bella is strong-willed and does what she wants. Strong-willed, no. A brain-dead moron that doesn't think ahead, yes. And is amazed both parents accept the accident story. And promises not to do anything to hurt her. The pomegranate metaphor again. Leave my fruit out of this. It is delicious. Should not be soiled by this trash of a book. Renee falls asleep. Ed thinks how unlikely Alice is to give him space no matter his mental state. Ugh. And he calls her, but she's coming up the stairs already, and gives him the camera. And we'll keep an eye on Bella as he goes to the deserted chapel and watches James' serial killer video. Okay, James calls Bella's scent floral, and so does Edward at some point in the books. Like, I know people put flowers in, like, chocolate, but, like, I don't smell a rose and think I want to eat it. Like, I love lilacs, but I don't want to eat them. Like, since they don't eat food and it tastes disgusting to them, you could have, like, made it like a starving person smelling a buffet, their favorite food or something. Not flowers. Like, ugh. Anyway. Ed watches it all numb, and then the camera shows him sobbing. Some flicks of the fight. Now he's rage-filled for some reason. Like, he's numb 1 second and rage-filled the next. Like, anyway, who's taking video of this? Like, seriously? Anyway, Alice picks up the camera and turns it off, and then Edward destroys the camera to dust and metal chunks. And then he takes the bottle cap out of his pocket, and since he doesn't deserve any link to Bella, he crushes it. And then he stays in the chapel until morning, and for the first time in a century, he prays. Again, like, a different author's hands, this could have been, like, so well done. You have, like, this abomination in God's eyes who has believed he's destined for hell for, like, a century, and in his lowest moment, prays to God. Not even for himself, for somebody else. Like, this could have been beautiful. But Stephanie Meyer wrote it. But not to his God, since they are gods of their own world, outside of the mortal one. And he prays to Bella's God. Isn't it the same one? Like, anyway. Surely they'd be concerned about their bravest and kindest daughter. And he prays for strength to protect Bella from himself. And that's chapter 28, The Three Conversations.